Hi, I'm Steve from Yamaha. I'm here today with GAK.co.uk to give you a brief overview of our brand new MOXF6 synth. Okay, so we're here today with a brand new Yamaha music production synthesizer, the MOXF6. Just taken over from the MOX6 a couple of months ago. It was released. The main additions over the MOX here, you've got the ability to put a gig's worth of flash ROM in it, so you can put your own samples and make your own sounds and layers. You can have up to 8 insert effects running at the same time in the sequencer in the pattern mode, so to enable you to have much more sort of realistic sounding sequences. You've got 128 note polyphony rather than the 64 from the last MOX, and these are really key for being able to layer up and making your own massive sort of patches, and also using a sequencer on board. The MOX, bare bones of it, over 1,000 sounds, over 200 sort of combinations, performances. You've got song mode for your sequencer, which is compatible with Cubase. You've got pattern mode, which you can do step time, sort of loop-based pattern recording. You've got a lovely onboard mixer. Because Yamaha owns Steinberg, every Yamaha product comes with Cubase AI7, which is fantastic sort of music production digital audio workstation, which this integrates perfectly with. It's a remote control keyboard, so it can control Cubase, it can control Logic, Digital Performer and Sonar just by clicking the DAW remote button. You can have access to all of your soft keys, your transport controls, your jog wheels. You can zoom in, zoom out, all the sort of things so you don't have to sort of get to the mouse for. So take that off. You've also got a vocoder. So down here you've got a left and right input. It's a full-on audio interface as well. So you've got 2 inputs, and when you plug it into the computer you see 4 outputs. So you've got the tracks 3 and 4 will be the internal tone generator, and tracks 1 and 2 will be coming in from the AD inputs on the left here. So you can plug a mic in and use it as a vocoder, or you can plug a guitar in and use it as an effects processor, because you've got amp simulators and reverb and distortions and wahs and all those sort of effects all built in here. Because it acts as an audio interface, you've got the ability to be able to monitor the DAW directly from here. So if you're playing something from iTunes or YouTube, you have your speakers plugged into the back here, and then you've got your level control up here. And the ability here to be able to monitor whether you've got just the AD input or mixed AD input with what's coming from the keyboard. What's great live and also in the studio for controller is this bank here, which is your controller section. So I've got 3 matrices doing cutoff, resonance, envelope, jet depth, portamento. You've got your attack, you get a delay, your volumes, your pans, and on the bottom here I've got full EQ. I've got control directly of my chorus and reverb, and I've also got direct control of my ARP, so I can adjust the tempo, the swing, and the octave range, and all sort of things like the gate time and everything like that. I've got assignable function keys down here, which we can go on to later when I'm doing a bit of playing. And then for every keyboard player, it's useful octave buttons and transpose buttons, so that's sort of spot on. In the middle here, I've got my effects section here, so I can quickly turn my insert effects on and off. My system effects, which would be my reverb and my chorus, and a master overriding master effect, which could be like a compressor or an EQ. I've got my ARP on and off, and I've got my sequencer control here for my step time pattern recording and my song mode. In the middle, I've got my soft keys, so these control directly what's on the screen, or they can be programmed to control anything on your DAW. On the right here is the bare bone, is the guts of the system, where you get to all your sounds. So with Yamaha, they try and make it as easy as possible for as many people to get to their stuff. So you can get to your bits by pressing category search and then scrolling through. You've got keyboards, organs, guitars, bass, synths, strings. So you can get to it by category search, or you can directly dial into the bank and the preset over here, whichever way you want to get to your sounds. You can do that easily. In the mode over here, you've got voice mode, which is all your simple sounds, which is what you got your over 1,000 sort of sounds. Performance mode, where you've got your splits and your layers and all your ARPs. This beast you can have up to 4 arpeggios running at the same time. So you can have like a drum and a bass ARP in the bottom and a synth ARP at the top, and then a solo sound in the middle, whatever you want to go through there. And in voice mode, it's up to 8 oscillators deep. So you can imagine, so for grand pianos, you can have very good multi-layered grand piano sounds or beautifully expressive string sounds. But then for bare-bones synth sounds, 8 oscillators, you can stack saws and sine waves and make really nasty sounds, which I'll show you later. And then master mode is like a combination of everything on the board. So when you take it live, you can have all your sounds, all your songs, all your performances, all in nice sequence, so you can get to them nice and easily. So, best thing to do would be to show you a few of the sounds that make the MOX so useful. So I go to voice mode. Great thing about this is I can put all my sounds in a favourites bank. So when I first get my synth, I can go through it, say I like that sound, like that sound. You can shift, put it on favourite, puts a little heart by it, and everything then appears in one bank. So I hit favourite, and all of my sounds appear in one bank, which I can scroll through with my jog wheel. So starting off with the grand piano sound, which is what Yamaha are obviously traditionally amazing at, all your acoustic sounds it caters for beautifully. So you've got your... So really, really expressive, from the really sort of delicate highs to the heavy sort of crashing lows. So a really, really great concert grand for most sort of types of music. You've got vintage case, which is like an awesome sort of Rhodesy sort of sound. Okay, so that's like your Rhodes sound, and there's like 20 grand pianos, 20 odd Rhodes and whirly sort of sounds. Loads to choose from. Guitars, this is a great way of showing you what I spoke about, the assignable function buttons here. So I've got something happening on assignable function button 1 and 2, and guitars are traditionally quite hard to do, especially classical. So what we've got here is... So I've got a string bend on assignable function 1, harmonic on function 2. Okay, so it allows you to have sample switching and sort of more layers. Synth sounds, yeah, caters for them straight out of the box without having to go through the editor. So this is just one of about 30 or 40 decent, really usable synth bass sounds. So you've got this low boy here, so this gives you like a sub on the button without sort of editing everything. So you've got a decent sub, but then the assignable function keys can turn on more oscillators. So remember I said it's an 8 oscillator synth, so this is like your sine waves. Then you can add more, and more. So really, really powerful straight out of the box. There's quite a few other bass sounds, just an example. So loads of different sort of sounds. Loads of different sounds straight out the bass, out the box even. Again, demonstrating your assignable functions on some of the acoustic sounds. You've got your like electric strings, for example. So and on the assignable functions, you've got an attack sort of quick bow, and then a slow bow. So all acoustic instruments are really, really catered for quite nicely. With your big on. So all your solo strings and all your ensemble strings are all catered for as well. A couple of nice sort of nice harp sound. Synth leads. So nice, massive sort of big sounds on there. And then you've also got your sort of kind of like glitchy sort of stuff, which is kind of new for the XF version here. So I've got things like... So loads of different sort of glitched up kind of weird sort of kits and drums as well. Arpeggios, over 7,500 different arp styles. So I've got my... So that's an arpeggio and a layer going on at once with some synth and some strings. Following on from what we said earlier about it being an 8 oscillator synth, if you're used to using VSTs, so something like Massive or Predator or anything like Native Instruments, you'll be used to editing and making sounds on the computer. The editor that comes with this is supremely powerful. It's basically lets you control 8 oscillators. You can each oscillator has its own LFO, has its own insert effects, have its own envelope generators. You can do loads and loads of stuff and programming different mods and stuff. So what I've done, I've teamed up with my producer partner Urban Dub, and we've sat in the studio and we've sort of thought, well, what sort of sounds can this make when you actually sort of use the editor? So I'll show you a couple of the sort of kind of more harsher sort of sounds that you can make when you plug it into your computer. So we're controlling the LFO depth from the mod wheel. What we've got here is a really, really beefy sub with an LFO wobble going on as well. And then back towards the mod wheel again. So you're controlling the LFO speed. And then a sort of kind of a scream sort of sound. So capable of lots and lots of sort of different sort of synth sounds, rather than just like the synths that you get out of the box. So when you really want to have a play, you can load up the editor, standalone. It works within Cubase or Logic, or it can sort of, as I said, work standalone as a VSTi. Works under Mac OS and Windows, so you can really then get really deep into it. The other half of the keyboard is your performance modes. So this is where you've got all your splits and layers. So you've got all your drum kits, all your synth kits. So all the different arpeggios. You've got things like electric guitar, sort of. Going here with a slightly more modern twist. So loads of different sort of sounds, kind of like techie, glitchy stuff. With an ARP on the top. Okay, so loads of different things, like a techno-y sort of stuff. These are just all the presets sort of ones. You've got nice sort of dub, chilled sort of dub sort of sounds. So you've got your bass harp, you've got a drum harp going, and then up here you've got like a glistening sort of pad. Just gives you an example of all the stuff you've got here. Beautiful piano layer. So great for your singer-songwriters. You've got your dancey sort of stuff. Got your dance sort of stuff. And then you've also, this gives you an idea of the sort of arps you've got. So down the bottom here. So I've got a kind of like a strings, flute, arp going on. And on the top, I've got my flute. Loads and loads of different things, big layers. this is where you find all of your layers and your splits all in performance mode. So yeah, really, really capable of some sort of massive sounds. And of course, the main difference between the older MOX and the new MOXF6 is the fact you can put up to a gig's worth of flash RAM in there for sampling. So you can put your own loops, your own hits, your own vocals. You can use the samples within song and performance mode and song and pattern mode. So the possibilities are really, really endless, especially then when you link it up with a computer. Get your Cubase AI7, which comes included with it. You get your editor up and running. You can make some huge sounds. What I've done, just to show how simple it is I have just loaded some drum loops on that we made in the studio, a few easy drum loops, and then I've layered them with a bass sound that was built in here, just to give you an idea of how quick and easy it is kind of to do. So what I've got is a... Gives you an idea. You've got a layer of some samples down there and then a bass sound going on up here. So yeah, so what you've got in summary, 8 oscillator synth, already preloaded with over 1,000 awesome sort of acoustic and synth and pad sort of sounds. You've got your performances, which layer up to 4 sounds at once, arpeggios, drum loops, all that sort of stuff where you can get your splits and your layers. You've got your sequencer and your pattern mode for making up your sounds and songs from scratch. You've got a wicked sort of live section for controlling live performances and also for using as a studio controller. It's a 4-way audio interface and no need to have any other extra boxes in the studio. You've got vocoder, loads of virtual effects, and the fact you've got a gig's worth of sampling, so pretty awesome.